All right. It says I'm live. I always forget to turn these off. I can't believe these don't have an auto off function. Okay. Test, test, test. Okay, now I can hear this. I can hear that. Okay, that already sounds better. Because this is a dynamic microphone, so it should pick up less stuff from there and less stuff from the walls. And I have the condenser mics on the piano, so we'll see how that sounds. I don't know what I'm going to play. Something that hopefully doesn't get in the way of the microphone. You know what? I could just slowly practice some stuff, right? That's always fun to watch. I just kind of wanted to see how this sounds, but I'll play something. Okay, I'll just, you know what? I'm going to fumble my way through the end of this piece here. Not the whole thing. Well, maybe I'll just do as much as I can. And then you're going to see, like, I'll get to the last page, and then it's going to be basically sight reading. Brace yourself. What time? Oh. Let's do. I'll give myself a reminder at 10 minutes. So I'm tricking myself. Okay. I am trying to work on the dynamics and some of the fingering aspects of this. You have some really unique things, and it's not the same hand over hand pattern every time, so there are a couple of points where I have to really think about what I'm doing. Sorry, I kind of got lost. I was like trying to remember what it was I did. Okay. Yeah, so we're just going to play this, and then if time permits, I'll fumble through the end of it. But everybody will hear it soon. So this is 3 years now in the making, and I'm finally completing that and 2 other pieces that I set out to learn when I first came back to piano. And it's all just such, as if you're watching this on Meta, you can see that my background picture says inconceivable, and that really is the most appropriate word, I think, for all of it. Briefly, I took an extended hiatus from piano, but it wasn't just not wanting to do it. It was, there were so many things, and like I actually lost some of my physical ability, the fine articulation, and I assumed that it was years and years of repetitive injury and not having the proper form and technique, because that actually really makes a difference. Like, even if you're really, really careful and know what you're doing, it's easy enough to end up with like bad injuries. But Anyway, I used to just disregard all of that, and I would play all sorts of weird, funky positions. And so I just thought, well, that does it for me. But never really thought I would ever come back to piano. And then this happened, and that was never happened the way that I intended. But it is, what it is now. So this piano was the last major decision that my wife and I made together, and it was because we both came from musical backgrounds, but we just didn't. Neither of us came from places where we had very much, and we were both, talented in our own rights. But our goal was that we were going to, at least in terms of fine art or music, that we were going to give our daughter the kind of head start that we wish we might have enjoyed. So we're like, okay, this is like, we're never going to spend money ever again, but let's go ahead and do it. So got this whole thing, and then COVID happened, and long story short, delay after delay because of supply chain, nothing to do with the people, because this was in New York, getting not refinished, like gutted and filled with all brand new shiny Steinway stuff. Some of it comes from Germany, so that takes a while. Steinway is both in New York and Germany. But anyway, so this piano was delivered not all that long after my daughter died, and they, upon hearing everything that happened, I mean, they were just, I think everybody was like, wait, everybody thought I was talking about my wife, like, oh man, this guy's really, it's like 10 months later, 7 months later, and this guy is, still going on. And then they've come to find out, because the name is the same, they've come to find out that it was my daughter, and you would just see this same look when people finally understood what had happened, and they were willing to take it back. I mean, and this was like, it's 1931, but it's all Steinway original parts, but there's some customization done. I'm not going to say where, but if you really know your Steinways, you'll know. So I have a one of a kind, but yeah, so it arrived after my daughter died, and they offered to take it back, and I said, you know what? No, I'm going to use this as one of my ways of trying to make something of this. And here we are 3 years later, and I just can't believe that it's even gotten this far. I better stop talking and play something, right? Okay. My timer says 3 minutes. That's not a good sign. Wait, let's pause this. What time? Yeah, we'll let it go. It's going to be super quick. Oh, that's right. That's the best part. I can yap all I want while I'm doing this, and it's not going to affect the piano. I should say it's not going to pick up on the piano. It's just going to pick up on my voice, but I won't do that to you. This isn't fair. So normally I get to like warm up and loosen up, and that makes a difference. I'm just making excuses. That's okay. Without excuses, what would I have? That was ugly. Now I'm thinking too much about time and not what I'm doing. Oh boy, I couldn't have missed that anymore. One more time. This is what I get for not using the music. Why do I always do that? Anyway, that part I can get through with the music. The one part that I have not learned yet, or I should say I started learning, but that I had never played until now, is the very ending. So it just goes like this. Where am I? Oh, okay. I know it doesn't sound right, but it is. We're almost there. Can you hear how out of tune that A flat is? So one of the things that seems counterintuitive, but when you're playing really, really, really softly, and I'm not playing really, really softly, I'm trying to play so that it actually picks up too. But you actually have to use a lot more force to play very quietly than you do to play loudly, because when you're playing loudly, you can put weight into it, but playing something like this where you've got, so you're bridging this with your thumb, so you're you've already got a big wide stretch there, and then you have to play it all so that every note sounds, but it's still quiet. And I didn't even do it there. There we go. And then just for fun, Liszt decides to change the timing here just for this one little stanza. So instead of going da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, it goes just that one time. And then back into the normal rhythm. And then it's hard to see past my microphone. I didn't think that part through. I do have a boom thing that I'm going to attach, so it'll hopefully raise it up a little bit. Whoops. Sounds like something like Middle Eastern, doesn't it? That's one of my favorite chords. I lost my place. We're just gonna go to that part. That sounds good. This is where the sorry to do that like all loud, but it's because I just realized I was about to make a huge mistake. So this part here, you have to reach a 10th. I don't know if anybody knows piano, but an octave, as the name implies, is 8. So with this, you're reaching a 10th, but you can roll it, And then what you're doing is the pattern once again changes. So up to the A flat, come down. And then you cross over with the right hand. And then you have to switch here to a new finger. Because this time you're going up to the D flat. And then you change to a B flat major sound. And look at how far this stretches. And I have big hands. That's about as far as I can go too. And that one hops too. Look. So that, and then you have to do a cross. I know this sounds like I'm making it up, but this is actually what you have to do to play this, and it's all going a million miles an hour. So then you start with your pointer here. You bring your thumb underneath. Right? Couldn't be simpler. So that's where I'm at. But I better get a move on. So I'm going to bid everyone good evening.